All right, so here we are. You can see my whole screen there, but that's not a big deal. The first thing we need to do today is welcome everybody. I hope you're doing awesome. Today is Labor Day in 2022. Um, some of the campuses for Centenary University are open, some of them are closed. In either event, I did mention to everybody that you can feel free to enjoy the day with your family, do whatever you wish, though it is supposed to be raining a bunch, and you can watch these videos if you cannot attend class, and this will catch you right up. It's the same stuff we're going to be doing in class at that same moment, so you won't lose anything if you go to these videos, or at least if you lose anything, it'll be very minimal. So first thing I would like to do is talk about the answers to last night's homework. Then I will do a little bit of a pregame stretch, kind of get ourselves loosened up, a chance to go over questions like what were on the homework, and then we'll go over the answers to those, and that'll make the first video for today. Then we're going to do some review work kind of material that we've been going over the last few days. That'll be a second video, and then the third video will be new stuff being introduced for today. And of course, I'll have links to all of them in Moodle. Okay, so as far as the homework answers go, I do want to remind you about the homework. It is so incredibly important to get this homework done. And I do not mean to sound like some annoying person, because I didn't like being told this too. And for the overwhelming majority of the class, people are doing their homework. But there are some people who are not. And every single time a student at the end of the semester is struggling to pass, you can point back to a time in the beginning of the semester, not necessarily the first week, but in the beginning, when the student was not doing their work and they fell out of the routine. So that's one reason to get this started. The second reason to get this started is that it is 10% of your grade for the year. And there are some students who at the end of the year will say, oh my God, can I do extra credit? This is your extra credit. Do these, you get a full 10 out of 10. There's no excuse for not doing your homework. In a sense, this isn't exactly true, but in a sense, it's kind of like adding 10 points to your average. And then the last thing is this: if you do not do your homework and you don't actually physically attend the class, then you don't get credit for attendance. If you didn't attend the class, but then you did do the homework, that's a way of attending the class. If you don't do that, from what I understand, and I'm not exactly sure how this happens, it can impact federal aid to your status as a student. So make sure that you are getting this work done. Okay, next up, what's the difference between a variable, and a constant? By the way, it is Sunday night at 10:30 p.m., so I think I'm going to yawn a bunch. I made this work up on Thursday or Friday, and then I pulled my back out. So I haven't been up to things. I still don't feel perfect. And I rarely pull my back out. I don't know what's up with this. But then we had a tree fall down, and I had to take my chainsaw out and work on the tree for a while. I've just been a very, very, very busy young man. Okay, so what's the difference between a variable and a constant? A variable can change, hence the root word vary in variable, and it's typically represented with a letter. And a constant never, ever, ever changes, whether it's a constant with which we work with all the time, like say 3, 4, 5, -2, -8, -10, or pi, or this number called E, which you may have learned about in high school, or any other constant like G, the constant for gravitational force, or a mole, 6.023 times 10 to the 23rd power. That's something you see in chemistry. So constants never change, variables change, and we typically represent them with a letter. What's the difference between an equation and an expression? This is important in the sense that it seems that something like this always pops up on a test or a quiz. It's such an easy question, but somebody inevitably gets it wrong. The difference between an equation and an expression is that an equation has an equal sign, and an expression never ever has one. How does that pop up? Well, if I said write an expression for the sum of A and B, you would write A plus B. Some students will write A plus B equals. And the minute you add that equal on the end, it's becoming an equation. It's no longer an expression. Okay, so here are the answers to a bunch of questions. It kind of says 1 through 15 or 1 through 25 or whatever it says. I don't have my glasses on, but I really can't talk about them right now because, because it's not a give and take for you to ask me questions. But the steps are shown step by step. Sometimes I do make mistakes and get things wrong, but I think I'm okay here. I am somewhat careless in my work. It's just part of being me. Just take a look at it, see how you did. If for some reason you got one wrong, I would pause the screen, look at this, look at the work, see if it makes sense to you. And if it still doesn't, after potentially asking a friend or a classmate or emailing me, then we'll set up a time to meet on office hours. Okay, and then likewise the same thing here for numbers 16 through 21. Again, if I went too fast for you, you just go back and pause the screen. Very important in number 18 to put A and B in a parenthesis because it says decreased by the sum. So you have to take the sum, and the parenthesis is a grouping symbol. It means it's grouping the A and B as a sum. Remember, less than, last shall be first, first shall be last. I think these are it. Yeah, these are the last. These are the 6 equations at the end. Okay. All right. So again, pause the video, and then you can look at your answers to each, and follow the instructions I gave you before if there are any problems. Now we're going to have you work on lesson 3 pregame stretch. So likewise, what we're going to do is I'm going to leave this here for a minute. You're going to pause the video and then do all the questions. So do that now. Okay, now I'm going to slide up. You're going to pause the question and do all of the problems. And of course, this is also found in Moodle, so you could just click on Moodle and call up the document that way. And last but not least, just number 12 is it? Yeah, we go. Here are 4 equations to finish the pre-game or pre-lesson stretch. This is just a chance to get our brains loose and stretched out. Nothing is meant to be particularly difficult. It's designed to refresh all of the material that we've been going over lately. So work these out. Once you're done with all 12 questions, continue the video because now I'm going to put the answers up. Okay, and just like before, it's the same thing. I'm not really going to discuss too much of the answers because there's not a give and take here, but you can see the answers. And if you have any questions, you can speak to a classmate, you can speak to someone in the course, you can speak to somebody you know who does well with math, you can send me an email, or you can just follow the steps and see if you can get them right. And then if none of that works, then send me a request to meet during office hours and I'll send you an invite. Always remember with office hours, if you don't send me a request for that, I can't go to office hours because there's no one invited. Number 8 has that less than again. First shall be last, last shall be first. Okay. So that's our first video for today, and it just kind of reviews what we've been doing, and it's just it's not hard. It's not meant to be hard. It's just a chance to get our brains ready for the lesson. In fact, I'd even say the first couple of weeks in class are not particularly difficult. All right. Only as the year wears on, it still doesn't become that hard, but it gets more challenging as the year goes along. Okay. And let's stop the recording now.